I want to talk to you about savings opportunities. This is obviously not instrumental to what we're doing with the tax return, but because our focus is serving low and moderate income groups, we want to find opportunities to help them stabilize their economic situation, and saving at tax time can be a really good way to do that. So we are going into our third or fourth year, I honestly can't remember which, third year of partnership with SaveYourRefund. This is a national sweepstakes, but by partnering with them, we can actually get some credit at our sites by helping people enter. And so it's a national promotion trying to encourage people to put a portion of their refund into savings at tax time. And it's really easy. If people have a federal refund of $51 or more, as long as they put $50 of that into a savings vehicle and the remainder, however else they want, whether it's a paper check into their checking account, as long as that split happens, they can be entered into drawings to win $100. They do drawings each week. 10 drawings each week, so there's 10 chances to win $100 per week, and then there's a grand prize of $25,000 through a photo contest. So $35,000, 101 opportunities to win. We actually send some information to our taxpayers ahead of time, letting them know about this, but really that personal conversation is what makes them feel more comfortable considering this, and so that's why we want to spend some time talking to you about it today. So part of the reason that this savings sweepstakes exists is because of the reality that across the country, about a third of people don't have an emergency savings account. 50% have less than 3 months of their usual income in savings to cushion against any unexpected expense. And we also know that most people do kind of pre-spend that refund, which is another reason that as they're looking at the screen and watching that tally change, they're computing like, okay, if I thought I was going to do this, am I still able to do it? Do I have more? And so we're trying to kind of get out ahead of that and get people to think about putting just a little bit into savings. The opportunity, we know that there's billions of dollars that are awarded in tax refunds, and we have seen at our sites that the refund is often 20% or more of people's annual income. I mean, that's a huge sum of money. If you think about if you're making it work on $20,000 a year and suddenly you get $4,000 in a refund back, I mean, that goes a long way in helping you either meter that out throughout the year or catch up on all the things that you might have fallen behind on. And we know that most households do receive a refund, and so we use tax form 8888 to help people split their refund. It's important to know that our taxpayers are maintaining control of their money. They're not putting it into some savings account that somebody else owns. There's no requirement to leave it in there for any amount of time, but they get an incentive to put money into savings. So pretty much everybody who gets a federal refund is going to be eligible to do this. They have to be over 18, so you will see you'll have some teenagers that'll come in. Maybe they make an appointment to come in with their parent because they had a part-time job after school. Unfortunately, they're not going to qualify, but anybody who's over 18 will qualify as long as they're getting that tax refund, like I said, of $51 or more, and then using the Form 8888 to split. And then there's all these different savings options. There's MyRA, which is the Treasury Department's retirement account. They can put it into a savings or a certificate of deposit. If they have an IRA through an employer or a Roth IRA, they can do that. They can buy savings bonds, and there are even some prepaid cards that will have a separate bucket for checking and for savings. Now, most times they're going to come to us with that already, and they'll tell us that they have that. It's not something that we make available at the site. We don't have the capacity for that. But what's important for you is this split. And so sometimes people will come in and they'll say, well, the only thing I have is a savings account. I was just going to put my whole refund in there. You want to congratulate them for thinking about savings, and then encourage them, well, why don't you just get part of it as a check? As long as you're putting the majority of it into your savings account, that's great. Get a $25 check if that's what you want. As long as they're putting $50 or more into a savings vehicle, they're eligible to win. And why would you turn down the chance to get $100? So SaveYourRefund.com/enter is where you'll take people if they decide to do this. Again, this is one area where we haven't figured out. Wow. We have not figured out.
In case anybody is falling asleep.
Yeah. We're not completely sure of how the mechanics are going to work in TaxSlayer yet. We know that tax form 8888 is available. It will be at the end of the tax preparation process. So for those of you who were with us in past years and you're used to entering bank account information up front, because that's the old software used to ask that information, no more. So now there won't be any confusion. So you can actually wait until the end of the return to be able to say, okay, great, we've got you a refund of $1,000. How would you like that coming back to you today? And so now you have the conversation of, if you have your bank account information, I'll enter it in. I think it's a little bit easier because you're having the conversation in the moment to say, could I encourage you to put $50 in? It makes you eligible to get this extra $100. We've had winners from our sites, from our tiny little sites in Wautoma and Wapaka. And if you think about, for somebody who is coming to us because they can't afford to have their taxes done by a paid preparer, $100 is a lot. And again, who wouldn't want a free $100 for just moving their money around a little differently than they might otherwise have done? So we know that Form 8888 will be available in the software. I assume is going to be just as user-friendly as everything else is in terms of tax forms. But what you'll want to do is have the conversation with the taxpayer to find out, are they interested in splitting their refund? And then where do they want that to go? The form is actually going to walk you through. Here are the different accounts that you want to deposit the money into. Here are the amounts that you want to put in each account. You can buy savings bonds through this form. And so you're just going to have that conversation and then follow the software's lead in terms of capturing how the taxpayer wants to do that. But the process for entering the sweepstakes, and I apologize, this is small, but this will be, we're recording everything, it's going to be on YouTube so you can look at it later, and I can also send this out to folks. The point is, it's simple. So it's name, email or phone number, I should say. You don't have to enter both. So if somebody doesn't have an email account but they want to enter, we can put a phone number. If somebody doesn't want to be contacted by phone, we'll put an email. And then the important part is that there's a drop down in this first screen. Where did you have your taxes prepared? And so they'll have the opportunity to choose cap services at Midstate, in Wapaka, or in Wautoma. And the reason that this is helpful is it allows us to do the verification process for them, because they do need to furnish proof that they split their refund. You don't submit that online. And so by choosing our tax sites, we can take care of that for them if they're selected as a winner. So you put in the contact information, you put in the savings information, and so it's what was your total refund, and then how did you split it, and the amounts. And so we're just transcribing the information, no bank account numbers, we're just saying, either you put $50 into checking and $50 into savings, or you might have bought bonds, but it's just a radio button that you're selecting. Again, no bank account information. Diane?
Did you say, I wasn't listening. Did you say, does this automatically come up at the end of the tax return on TaxSlayer?
This does not. So
after the end of the tax return, we would have to go there separately.
You will have to go to this website, yep. And so what I would encourage you to do, Wautoma and Wapaka, is on your laptops, put this as a favorite. Here, if you want to just write it up on the whiteboard, so that it's right there, the entry page. And so it's a very easy entry to just open a new browser tab and pop in and do that entry for people. And then the final screen is a survey of 2 questions. So, I mean, this is the whole process should not take you more than 2 minutes to help that taxpayer enter if they've chosen to save their refund. And then, congratulations, you did it. That's it. 4 screens, 3 where you enter information, and you're done. So, as I mentioned, if we have a winner from one of our sites, well, all winners have to verify their savings information. But because we're partners, we can do that for them. And so America Saves, who's running this, will contact our tax site to say, we had Jane Doe submit a Save Your Refund entry. She said she had her taxes prepared by you. Can you provide us with a copy of the Form 8888? And then we'll black out the social, the bank account information, and just show, yep, this is the person's name, the amounts into checking and savings match what they said in the entry, and they cut a check. It's extremely simple, and I think it's really important, though, that we at the sites take that initiative to encourage people to save and to complete their entry for them, because if they have to go home and do it, they might forget. And again, why make it harder for them if there's a chance to get $100 out of this?
If they do take it home and do it themselves, can the site still verify it?
As long as they would, if they list that they got their taxes prepared at one of our sites, then yes, America Saves would contact us first.
So what
If they don't, then America Saves is going to contact them.
Okay.
But because we provide them a copy of the tax return, they should have that information. It's just, again, we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people. Yeah, Diane?
What we found, or I found last year, is a lot of people that come in don't have a savings account.
Mm-hmm.
So does the person who makes the appointment with the taxpayer, do they talk about this so that the taxpayer can get a savings account before they come to the site?
We don't usually talk about it on the phone, but we send a worksheet that shows, we call it a tax refund worksheet. And at minimum, it's a way for us to capture direct deposit information. So they can enter their bank account, the name of their institution, and just have that ready for us when they show up to their appointment. But that's at the bottom of the page. And so at the top, it's, hey, you have this opportunity to think about savings. If they don't have a savings account, we can encourage them to buy a savings bond. They can start a MyRA retirement account. I mean, there are options. Ultimately, we want them to do what's comfortable for them. And so if none of those options feel good, we're not going to push it. What I've seen more often, though, is that people have savings and not checking. And I'm not really sure why that is, but that I've seen a lot of that where if they only have one account, it tends more often to be savings. And so that's where we can encourage them, like, that's great. If that's your one account and it's savings and you were planning to put your whole refund in there, all you have to do is take a little bit by paper check, and that makes you eligible for the drawing.
So they have to split it.
They have
can't
the
put all of it in the
split,
savings.
right, the split is what makes them eligible. Kathy, did you have a question?
Yeah, who notifies the winner? Does the site notify the winner?
I
did last.
You did? Yeah. I mean, America Saves will do that. Because we sort of serve as the intermediary in terms of verifying, you know, I would never call somebody until we've gotten it verified.
Right.
But yeah, I think, you know, they give us the option for each person, and then we kind of choose. And so if it's, you know, it's nice for us, I think, to be able to do that. But again, the check is coming from America Saves.
I think it would be cool if that taxpayer, not the taxpayer, but the preparer was able to be there too to let them know, because to me that taxpayer is going to respond or recognize the tax preparer more than they do somebody that they haven't met yet at the site or something.
And last year we did have a winner, and I had them come in. The preparer was unavailable, so I had a photo taken of me and the couple that won, and we put it in the paper.
Yeah.
You know, congratulations, you know, Save Your Refund winners. And a lot of people saw it and they talked about it.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think
really
that'd
good
be
for
cool.
publicity for that program
Right.
also.
And the other thing I would say is, you know, the couple that won last year, they wanted to buy a new TV.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
that's great. You know, 2 years ago we had somebody win who her income was incredibly tight and she wanted to use it to visit her mom at a nursing home. I think that's the beauty of something like this, is that not every story has to tug at your heartstrings. This is people's money to do with what they choose. And so if they want to buy a TV, kudos to them. They made the choice, they were eligible, and now they have this opportunity. Did you have a question?
Yeah, you listed prepaid cards on there.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna have that set aside that we can put it on prepaid cards for them, or do they have to bring in a prepaid card?
They would have a card already. So like for some people, if they aren't able to get a traditional bank account, they can get like a transaction card. I'm trying to think. I think Walmart does these. I mean, there are a few places that, like superstores, that make them available. Some employers are going the way of doing their direct deposits onto a card. But no, so we will not have cards on hand or even a relationship with a vendor. Someone would be coming to us and say, I do all my banking on this card. It has savings and checking. And so for our purposes, that really functions exactly like a regular account. It's going to have a routing number. It's going to have an account number. It's just that instead of the financial institution being U.S. Bank, it might be something different. I think Green Dot does some cards. I mean, so again, we're not trying to sell people any new products. They would be coming with that already.
And how does the savings bond one work then?
The Treasury would issue them a savings bond.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they opt to do that, they would get that information by mail. Jess.
Can we enter if we do it that way?
Anyone can enter. Anyone can enter. And so we do want to emphasize this for our taxpayers because, again, I think it is an opportunity to, help them build up a little bit of a cushion. But once again, they can do what they want with the money. But anyone who splits their refund can do this. Now, if you do it, you don't have to say you got your taxes prepared through our site. You can just do it. You could if you want to, but it's open to the public. Anybody who splits is eligible to do it. The grand prize, that's not something that we are helping them with their entry. If somebody enters the weekly, we'll send them home with a postcard that tells them how to do the grand prize drawing, but it's just a photo contest. And so I gave you an example here. This is pulled directly from their website. It wasn't a winner, but it's one of the photos that came through. I should say it was the weekly winner, but it wasn't the grand prize winner. But you can see it's just a family photo that says, well, this is our inspiration for savings. So it's not like it has to be this, professional level photo, pictures of trips to Paris, anything like that. It's really about what savings means to a particular person. So we have these flyers, the Save Your Refund flyers will also be at the site just to encourage people so that they see it again. We are trying to take steps to engage people at multiple points through the process. So when we send out the appointment reminder letter, it's going to have that savings worksheet along with the intake form, that pink intake form. We'll have the flyers at the site. When somebody shows up, there is a question on page 3 of that intake form that says, if you get a refund, do you want to do direct deposit? Do you want to buy savings bonds? And so the intake person is able to engage in that conversation about savings. And then with the tax preparer, there's an opportunity to say, oh, well, you brought your last year's return with you. I see you got a pretty sizable refund. If things haven't changed for you and you're expecting a refund this year, you might want to think about savings. And then once we get to that point of quality review and we're finalizing the return, entering that direct deposit or other refund request information, that's a really great opportunity because now it's real to be able to say, wow, your refund is X amount of dollars. why won't you consider putting at least $50 into a savings account? If you split your refund today, you have a chance to win $100. So, plenty of opportunities to encourage folks to save. And yeah, if you do it yourselves, that's, I think, even better because you can say, I did it, and I'm a preparer. This is open to everybody. It's not just Vita sites, it's everyone. And so sometimes that can make the difference too, that it's not just about serving low-income populations, but this is for anyone, and why would you miss that chance? Your odds are a lot better than the lottery, so take advantage.